Hey guys, we are in a secret bunker here at the Fretboard Summit right now. Nobody knows this. We are in here with a top secret guitar. No, this is actually a prototype. We are so excited to be in here with the folks at Yamaha. I got Brandon, I got Shingo, and we are going to be talking about a brand new TransAcoustic here. And they gave me a little bit of a demo before, and I'm here to tell you, this is beyond something that I was expecting. I was told that we were going to see this really cool prototype. It's going to be in the TransAcoustic family. And I'm like, cool, there's going to be some new. And then they started talking about it. And let me tell you, there's more going on here than I've ever seen in any acoustic guitar. I know this is something that a lot of the electric world, some of the stuff has been seen in some, but I don't think this has ever been done in the acoustic guitar world. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is really taking a lot of innovation and throwing it all into one machine, pretty much, throwing it all into one guitar.
So what do we have? What is the official title of this guitar right here?
This is the TAG3 C.
Okay. And kind of run us through some of the cool new features, and then we'll kind of dive a little bit further into some of those as we kind of feel like talking about them here.
Sure.
But well, actually, you know what? I want to start first, since we have Shingo here. Let's talk about some of the this is kind of your baby, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So what made you decide to take the TransAcoustic further? What was the ideas that you was like, we got to do this?
Okay, thank you for a great question. Actually, the prior TransAcoustic, the generation 1, is really intended for the relaxed session because the reverb and chorus is quite simple and dialed in, that's it. So more for the kind of couch or like a home session. But that's not good enough for the proactive creative players. So I really wanted to make an inspiration to such as creative level who is writing a song or practicing a lot at their home or doing a lot of gigs. So I'd like to make an inspiration to them. So that's why we developed this.
Well, I think that's an awesome way to go because we are seeing that now. You know, after COVID hit, we got a boom of new musicians creating new music, not just in the music forms that we all recognize and we all had been doing. I mean, there's traditional forms of what we all love. I mean, don't get me wrong, but the guy and gals who are coming into this with this whole electronics world of how to create electronic music as well as the roots and the figures of what we know as acoustic music is really kind of blowing up and creating whole new things that I'd never even thought was a possibility. So it's really cool to see that you're putting that into a guitar. Very inspirational. So what were the things that you thought were most important to dive into to add to this guitar to make it go that direction?
Okay, actually there is 3 main features. One of them is, of course, the expanding effect. So the prior first generation had a reverb and chorus, but adding to that delay, plus deep dive into the parameter edit. So up to the customer or players, you can dive into the details of the effect and also Bluetooth audio. So the guitar starts to play instead of players. That's a kind of sad, but
yeah, I understand.
It's an inspirational experience, I believe. And the third one is a loop.
Yeah.
So this guitar can make a loop.
Which is, I think, going to be, obviously all the features are really blowing up, but I think that is the one when people come away from this, the first thing that they're going to go is, wait, I can do loops in my guitar? And that's going to be, like I said, totally unique. So let's talk about some of those features. You were telling me this now has 2 actuators instead of 1, correct? So the original TransAcoustic had 1 on the back, and that was how you were hearing the sound that was being added to the natural acoustic properties.
Right.
So now we have 2. So where do we add the second one to it?
So we've now got 1 actuator on the back and 1 actuator on the top. And the effect of that is that we're basically able to split the frequencies that those actuators are handling. So you can get much higher fidelity sound. It's much more efficient that way. And really, it's a wider range, more versatile way of doing the TransAcoustic tech.
So here's one thing, and again, we may keep this or we may not. One thing that in previous generations of this kind of stuff, everybody always thought of these as amplifiers for the acoustic instrument itself. Is that still not the case, that these are just for the effects? Both actuators are for the things that we're adding to the guitar? The guitar itself is not processing through those actuators, is it?
So the guitar itself, when the tech is turned off, is an all-solid Yamaha guitar. This is a solid Sitka spruce top, solid mahogany back and sides, one-piece mahogany neck, and no tech is really going into the acoustic sound. It's just a really good sounding acoustic guitar. Once you turn on the actuators, that's when you start doing, as you said, which is adding to that sound. Adding reverb, adding chorus, delay, looping, and of course Bluetooth audio, as Shingo mentioned.
Awesome. Yeah. So let's break down some of those. So you're saying we've expanded the effects right now.
Yes.
So I know one of them is I keep saying we. It was me. I did this. I don't know why I did that. That's just silly. I was here from the beginning. No. It's added a delay, which was not in the original one. The original one had chorus and reverb effects, and those only, correct?
Yes.
So now we've added a delay. So tell us what's going on with the delay. Is it? I know you were saying, and we'll get further into this. All of these are user parameter controls beyond just a volume knob.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes. So maybe before we go further, we could mention the fact that there's a companion app now for the guitar. That app really lets you take a deep dive into the parameters of everything. So whereas in prior transacoustics, there was sort of a preset reverb sound, you had two that you could sweep between, preset chorus sound. Now you can really get into the weeds. Do I want a hall, a room, or a plate reverb? Do I want a pre-delay? Where do I want the tone to be focused? Bass and treble controls. Same thing applies to the delay now. So you can get a simple delay or an analog delay. Both give you controls over different parameters, feedback, again, tonal controls, things like that. And the delay mix knob on the top also now functions as a tap tempo. So you can really lock in whatever tempo you want to be at.
For the style of delay that you're wanting to go.
Exactly, yeah.
And again, before we get into the other effects, you have to realize that Yamaha has been in the front of PA and recording gear effects for many years. I mean, those who are heavy in the electronic side, especially PA and recording, know that there are some amazing algorithms that you guys are using for reverbs and delays and have been for a long period of time. So I'm assuming you're taking some of those exact styles of presets and bringing them into this guitar. Is that correct?
Actually, yeah, you mentioned a really good point. Of course, we utilize such as kinds of sources from the PA or any other electronics division in Yamaha. But also we collaborate with the Line 6 people. Yeah, you know Helix, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, in the team there is a software engineer who developed the Helix. And yeah, we collaborated with them to develop the specialized effect only works for the TransAcoustic. So it's really optimized reverb and chorus.
Yeah.
Which I think is also a good, I'm glad you brought that up too, because it was something that was brought out in a lot of the pedals, delays, and reverbs and stuff that have been coming out. The ones that a lot of people want to use for electric guitar are not the same sounds that we would necessarily want out of an acoustic guitar.
Exactly.
Right.
We don't want electric guitar reverb being run for vocals too. I mean, it makes perfect sense to have that. And usually what they're trying to do is find warmer, more natural type of tones for those. So again, that's awesome that you guys are going that direction already. So
And even within that subset of the acoustic guitar world, every acoustic guitar is different. So what you might want on a small body mahogany guitar, you wouldn't necessarily want on a
good point.
You know, a larger style rosewood guitar. So these effects were made for this specific guitar, this configuration of woods, this body shape. They're really optimized.
So awesome. So we got added delay. Now we're going into the reverb. What has been done to the reverb side?
So you now get three choices of reverb. You get a hall, a room, or a plate. You get choices of pre-delay and tonal controls again. Obviously, you have mix knobs through the app. And in the app, you have exact control over the length of the delay, or of the reverb rather. So for example, you can now get up to a 20-second long reverb tail for those of us who are into ambient guitar.
That's a very long.
It's really fun to play with. Or you could do a very short room if you just want sort of a room sound, if you want to add a little character to your practice or to your show, whatever you're doing with it.
Very cool.
So,
including pre-delay control on that particular one. I love that. I love getting my guitar into the room as fast as I possibly can. That's one of my favorite for effects. So, I mean, this is awesome already because I can already see me being the gearhead going, this is how I want to tweak this and how I want to, and now it seems like you can.
This is a total dream for someone who likes getting into the weeds and really making their own unique sounds. But at the same time, the factory settings sound great. So if that's not you and you just want the functionality out of the box, it definitely delivers on that.
Well, yeah, before we get into going into the chorus, that's one thing. You don't have to connect this to your phone
No.
to be able to use it. All these that's just expanded parameters that you have access to, correct?
Exactly. This works right out of the box. Yeah.
Cool. So and just with the knobs that are right there.
Yeah, there's just a power button in the middle. You turn it on and you go to work.
Cool. So now the third effect that we're talking about is going to be chorus.
Yes.
Again, how did that get expanded?
That got expanded quite a bit, actually. There's now 2 different chorus options. So you can get a double D tune or a 4-voice chorus. The double D tune is going to let you obviously have your 2 voices on either side of your original signal, and you have control over how many cents up or down each voice is independently. So I could say I want my lower voice to be 5 cents flat, but I want the upper voice to be 20 cents sharp. Really, you can customize that. And then the 4-voice chorus, you actually have control over how many of the 4 voices are active, 1, 2, 3, or 4. And of course, those same other parameters as well, tonal control, things of that nature.
Very, very cool. So what else are we missing in the effects realm? Is that pretty much covers you? You did say with this pickup setup, not only do you hear it through the actuators if you want to, but that all passes through your pickup signal as well, correct?
Yes. Yeah, 1/4-inch output jack on the strap button there, and all these effects and the looper get sent out of that 1/4-inch.
So that's where we go to the next side. You just mentioned it, the loop station,
Yes.
the looper. That
Yes.
changes everything. And here's where you guys blew me away when we were talking about this before we started filming, because I just had a 5-minute rundown. This is pretty awesome. So I'm asking all my questions in real time here to kind of go, all right, tell me where we went here and go. I have had very little success with loops. I love the idea. I love the idea just in practicing. I mean, performing is one thing, but practicing. Usually when I get into an affordable loop, there's so many like multi-button options that I cannot figure my way through it. I have issues setting up my loop station. So tell us some of the big features of what the loop is inside this guitar.
Yeah, I mean, you stumbled upon a great point. Like a lot of loop station workflows can be really cumbersome. It can be difficult to navigate. There's confusing secondary, I have to hold this down for 5 seconds and then double tap that. And this really doesn't work that way. It's very simple and user friendly. So essentially this bottom knob here is the loop knob. You just tap it once and a white light comes on and you've now activated loop mode. You can arm it to record and it's blinking because it's armed. It doesn't start recording until the second I play. Now it's a solid red, so we're recording right now. When I'm ready to basically start the loop, I just touch the button on top, and now it's looping. And so the other controls are very simple as well. I've just stopped it. I hold down the stop button to clear the loop, and now I'm ready to go again. And you also get expanded control in the app over how this surface button actually works. Whether you want to go into direct overdub mode or not, you can adjust the sensitivity of this. So if you find yourself accidentally hitting it, or if you're having trouble getting it, you can adjust sensitivity. It's really made to be as user-friendly as possible.
So what made you decide to put that on the top of the guitar? Was that your idea, Shingo? Is that somebody you had worked with, or having that access to touch into that, or?
Actually, during the development, there was a big discussion about how to control the looper. Yeah, obviously, it takes time. I mean, if someone is playing it here and put the finger on the side,
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
it disturbs the loop phrase. So to avoid that, we did a lots of tests. For example, like pushing the button on the back by Barry.
Yeah. I could have done that so well. You have no idea. By the way, this is the worst video. I think I feel so uncomfortable here because usually I have the guitar to cover this up, but I'm like fully exposed. No, I'm just kidding. I gave up carrying a long time ago. Anyway.
Yeah, but we did millions of tests, and as a result, I think this is the best answer for us.
As soon as you showed me this, because I saw the circle, and I'm like, all right, cool. What's
Design
going on
choice.
here? Yeah, because you got the blue in the next to it, and I'm like, there's something going on here. And then to hear what it was actually used for, that's super cool.
Actually, it serves an extra. I mean, aesthetically, people recognize something is happening, so which is a good sign for, and still looks like perfectly beautiful.
Absolutely.
acoustic there.
Yeah. And from the player perspective too, the placement of it is something I've really liked. Because if it were too far over here, I think I would accidentally be hitting it. If it were too far away, my timing would get thrown off.
Yep.
I've had a pretty easy time just going straight in from playing to tapping, and then I'm done.
That is so cool. So you were talking. Let's get into for those who are big loop people. You were saying this is an infinite amount of loops.
Yeah, infinite layers on this.
Okay.
So you're never gonna run out of layers, rather.
That's really cool. How much time do you have right now as in the system? So how long of a loop can we make?
Yeah, so for a single layer, it's right around 30 to 40 minutes.
Something like that.
Yeah, so you're not
That's a
going to
long
run
time.
out.
That is like you could literally create a whole loop for all of Freebird.
Yes, a few times over. Please don't give anyone that idea, but you could theoretically do
Because
that.
I believe it is actually a 30-minute song.
Yeah.
I believe.
I think you guys just stumbled upon a live stream idea. That's what your next challenge is going to be.
Can we hear Freebird for 30 minutes?
On a loop, and then you hear it again, but it's just you walk away. It's coming out of the guitar.
I love
You
it.
could do that.
So infinite amount of loops.
Yes.
Up to 30 minutes or more, depending on how this ends up going. What other awesome features do we have inside the loops?
Yeah, so in the app, there's actually a really cool feature where you can save up to 10 pre-saved loops. So theoretically, I could create an entire set list at home, 10-song set list, preload all the loops, show up to the gig, and then just hit 1, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth, and I could play through my set. And maybe I have some parts on top of that, maybe I'm singing, but it all just gets stored in the app.
Which is kind of cool because, again, what you were saying about this in the beginning was we're moving from something that is just like, oh, this is a lot of fun to have some effects and be creative on my couch to now I've got the option of actually being a pro, moving out there, because there are a lot of people that are doing the solo act thing and creating their own abilities, and to have a start place of 10 before you even show up.
Totally.
You think there's going to be eventually a place to store those later and dump them back in?
That's right.
See, I'm already on top of this. I don't know anything about how to do it, but I know it's coming.
You're the ideas guy.
I'm an idea man.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Ask Jeremy, I'm not. Anyway, but that's really, really cool because, like you said, you could then come back to things that you had been creating, not just for live use, but for, song sessions that you want to go tweak on. And I forgot about it, it was 6 months ago, and I come back to it and reload it back into the system.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of really cool stuff.
That's great. I've kind of had that experience already. I keep one of these in my office, and I will be sort of practicing in between emails, right? And I'm writing something. I have it saved on the app. I come back to it the next week, having forgotten that I recorded that, and it's still in there. And I listen to it, and I'm like, oh, I should do something with this. And then I don't, but I could.
Yeah, but it goes back to that. I love that coming back to giving people options for creating new music.
Yes.
As soon as we started going down this road, I'm thinking, especially a lot of younger players who are just they're more open to it than us old players like me, who are just scratching the surface of where things are going. But they're thinking of music in a whole different way than what I did. I'm assuming you, especially now living with this this piece here. That's pretty awesome, and I think what's going to be even cooler is right now I'm so excited because I'm thinking of all the ideas of things that I want to try with this guitar. So
it's been a blast. I mean, in years past too, if I'm coming up with an idea acoustically, I might think to myself like, oh, this would sound really cool with a delay and a reverb on it. And then I have to wait until I'm home. I set up my pedal board. I'm going through a speaker, an amp. It's a whole thing, and now it's just right there.
Cool. So now we talked about most of the loop stuff. What other awesome features have we added to the TransAcoustic?
Yeah, so this is Bluetooth compatible, which is how you connect to the app. But what that also means is that you can just straight up play back audio through it, essentially as a Bluetooth speaker. And the sound quality, because of those two actuators, is really great. It sounds really good.
That's really, really cool. So you're able to now have a track that you play along with. Now that doesn't output through the 1/4-inch jack. It's only going to come through the actuators, correct?
Yeah, I believe the track does not come out of the output.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
We try to avoid, for example, my mom is calling to my phone during my gig and ringing.
You don't want that.
You don't want to send that out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a worst situation.
That would be a really bad idea. I can see that.
Okay.
But that gives again, that's where we take a whole nother dive. We talked about professional making music and all this kind of stuff, but this gives you now, let's say you're more of a beginner intermediate player, you can put your own tracks in to kind of play along with or to learn something.
Yeah.
And then as we were talking about it, we're like, ooh, wouldn't it be cool if you could also put a slowdown and use that to practice along with? So there are options to make that happen. We were discussing how we can get that to do. There's so many cool options in that direction. So Bluetooth add-on, not just for the app functionality, but also for playback. It already does have a built-in tuner,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah, you
So-
just hold down the delay button and it turns into a tuner. You get a nice circle. It's going to show you green when you're good and red when you're not.
That's always good. So that was something that wasn't on the original TransAcoustic as well, right? It was, if I remember right, I've used it a bunch of times, but it was just basically 3 knobs, correct? And you just got to control reverb, delay, or sorry, chorus and volume for your overall for the pickup. So now we actually have a display in LED light,
Yes.
so to be able to use that, so that gives you your tuner option as well. And it also gives us really cool blue light, which I don't know why I'm just down with this blue light, but
It's
that
cool
also
light.
changes, right, for different options.
Yeah, depending on what you're doing, that light is going to change colors. So right now it's blue because we're Bluetooth paired, but you'll see sort of visual feedback of whatever you're doing, which again, if you're on stage, it's really nice to have an LED light just telling you what's going on.
As well as there was some lights that were behind each of the knobs as well.
Well, so
correct?
behind the looper knob, when you know that you're in loop mode when it's white,
white.
when it's lit up light, and you know that you're not when it's off. So again, just visual feedback to make things easier.
Very, very cool. Now we get into the last, well, I don't know if it's the last, you probably have more things that you'll dump on me, because every time I think we're like hitting the end of all these cool features,
Remembering
you're like,
something
I
we
remember
forgot
something
now,
else
yeah.
that we had in here. Oh yeah, we can do this too. Rechargeable.
Yes. So prior TransAcoustic models have worked off of batteries that you would slot in and out near the strap button. We now have a rechargeable lithium-ion battery, and it's actually a magnetically secured charger. So you're not going to accidentally trip on it and knock your whole guitar over. It just comes right out. It's also very easy to
cool.
put in.
Shingo's
you
got
can
it right
see
here.
right there.
It-
Just kind of snaps right in, and then whoops, I tripped, and it's right out.
So less chance of breaking it as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
a big problem. And you'll probably have extra ones of those available, I would assume, for if something does have a problem, we can get a replacement, obviously.
Yeah, you should be
for
able
that.
to, yeah.
Do you have an idea of how long it takes to charge right now?
It takes around 8 hours from zero time empty to a full, and with a full charge, it really depends on how much you use the function.
Sure.
So, but for Ruba, maybe 4 hours maximally.
Okay.
You can use. So it's
Of
good enough
looping,
for,
yeah.
Of looping? Gotcha. And I would assume that's going to take up the majority of battery power is the loop functions.
Yeah,
If
definitely.
the effects stuff probably doesn't use near as much.
Yeah, if you're
Not
just
much.
using a touch of reverb and some chorus, it's going to last longer for you.
Gotcha. So let's run down some of the cool features of the guitar itself. Yeah, tell us what we got here.
Yeah, so the guitar itself is really well constructed. This is a solid spruce top, solid mahogany back and sides. It's a one-piece mahogany neck, and it's an ebony bridge, ebony fingerboard. You get a satin non-stick finish on the neck, but you get a nice gloss on the body. It's open-geared tuners, and the guitar actually comes in 2 finishes. So this is our sandburst finish. It comes in a natural top as well.
Okay, very, very cool. And now we come to street price. Where are we going to see this land here in the U.S.?
Yeah, here in the U.S., you'll see this right around $16.99.
That is incredible. Like, it's a really big surprise for me. I was getting ready for you guys to come at me and say, yeah, it's going to be about $39.99.
For 2 of them, yeah.
Well, so that's really cool. I'm really super excited about it. I know I can just see myself. I'm about to bury myself in a basement when this arrives at the shop and just play with all the fun side of what you could do, music, creativity. I'm pretty excited about that. So, guys, thank you for bringing us into this room. Get ready, because it's coming at you very soon. Be looking for the new TransAcoustic version 2. Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah, we call second generation.
Second generation. Awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Be ready to see it here at the Acoustic Shop, because, yeah, I'm going to be seeing it. I know that. This is it.